this presentation, I'm going to be talking about one of the most powerful tools that you can use to help increase your athletic performance, and that is called self-talk. Self-talk is something a human being does every moment of every day. And even when you're asleep, your brain is communicating with yourself on an unconscious or subconscious level. That part of the mind is, some would say, almost 10,000 times more powerful than the conscious mind, because this is where your belief systems and your thoughts, your values are located. So that's why it's very important that you monitor how you communicate with yourself, because everything that you say to yourself, if it's in a negative way, it can feed down and then shape your subconscious mind, your belief system, which then can detrimentally affect how you see yourself, your self-esteem, your self-image. And if you're going to play championship sports, you have got to have the one thing that all great athletes have, and that's confidence. So by criticizing yourself, being hard on yourself, being a perfectionist, all of these things, being critical on yourself is a form of self-talk and can be extremely damaging to your athletic performance. So in this presentation, I am going to outline just quickly now, just a brief cursory review of what is athletic self-talk and how it can help or how it can hurt you. In general, self-talk can be divided into two different categories. You have motivational self-talk, and then you have instructional self-talk. And again, I want to make it clear, there are all kinds of categories for self-talk, but I'm talking about specifically for you, the athlete, the athletic self-talk, and what kind of language do you need to be engaging in to help you increase your performance. So motivational or inspirational self-talk can actually be subcategorized into two different strata. You have very positive and uplifting kind of self-talk, the kind of thing that, you can do this, and I got this, and I'm going to overcome this sort of thing, motivational. And then you also have the negative kind of motivational self-talk, which is saying you're calling yourself names, or you're very disappointed in yourself because of a lackluster performance. Anything that is critical or negative is what is considered negative emotional self-talk, right? Because it brings you down and it demotivates you. So it's either you're either motivating yourself positively, I got this, I can do this, I can hit this shot, or I can play this, this ball, or whatever you're doing, make yourself feel good, positive about yourself, or it's negative self-talk. And those are the kind of things that you want to stay away from. And quite frankly, a lot of great athletes are hard on themselves because they have such high expectations. And so what I tell my clients is you manage those expectations. In fact, you might even consider getting rid of your expectations and just replacing them with goals. Why is that? Many times expectations have a lot of emotion that is dragging it behind, you see. And so if you don't reach a certain benchmark, then because there's a lot of emotion attached to it, and you're in danger of not reaching these benchmarks, it can cause you a lot of stress and anxiety, and then that is just a compounding thing, and I'll talk about that in another video. So a goal, though, is something that seemingly in people's minds is something that's just sort of static, or is something that can be easily moved. I want to score 18 points tonight, or I want to, my goal today is shoot around par, let's say 72. If I go under par, great. If I go over par, okay. But then all of a sudden you get to the golf course, and all of a sudden there's a 20-mile-an-hour wind. So now you say, well, I'm going to adjust my goal to see if I can get it within 3 of par, so 75 will be the goal, and that'll be fine. But then if you say, well, I expect to shoot 70 today, and so you're sort of holding yourself hostage in a way, because of the way expectations are set up, then you're sort of setting yourself up. Then if you don't hit this, then I'm going to be very disappointed. And that's the kind of self-talk that you might engage in with somebody that has real high expectations. So one of my things is I just tell my clients, look, can't we just substitute goals for expectation and just get rid of all this high emotional baggage that you may be carrying along. It's great to have expectations in a team environment. I get that part. But as far as the individual athlete, the golfer, the tennis player, the equestrian rider, then perhaps that's something for you to think about, is to take expectations, just set that aside and replace it with goals. Now, again, I want to reiterate about expectations as far as a team environment. I mean, if you're playing for University of Alabama and you walk in that locker room, if your expectation is something other than a national championship, you're going to get ridden out of there. But I'm saying they run off a lot of people off that football team because they have such high expectation. And those players are great athletes. You see, they can start anywhere they want to and then have a successful career outside of that particular organization. Now, I'm a Bama man and I love the Crimson Tide, but I do understand that what is the culture in that particular environment, and I get that, and I applaud that. However, it is a tough environment to work in and play in if you are not a extremely mentally strong athlete. So what I have said to other athletes that have a fear in their mind, again, negative self-talk about going to the University of Alabama, what is your long-term goal? And if your long-term goal is to play in the NFL, you can play anywhere you want to, at the university here, university there, college here, and go forth, you see. And so you're not in a pressure cooker like you would be at University of Alabama. And so it just depends on where you have set the bar for your career. And again, I'll go into this in another video as far as goal setting is concerned, but this is the danger then that a great athlete who really doesn't function or can't allow their talent to blossom within a pressure cooking, high expectancy environment, something like the University of Alabama. Maybe they need a little less intensity in order for the pressure to get relieved off of their back due to a extraordinarily high expectation. And then as they move down the road, then they're able to become more emotionally regulated and become more mature. And then all of a sudden, once they reach the professional ranks, then everything has come together for them. But at least their confidence hasn't been crushed by a program that has such high expectations that they lose all their confidence before they even can get going. So that's why it's important that every athlete takes stock. What is it that I want to accomplish in my athletic life? And is the place that I am targeting, will they help me fulfill my potential? You see, that is why it is so important to be able to scout out and do your homework at a place, whether it's P League ball, whether it's high school, or whether it's college, and figure out, is this the best place for me? Is this the place that is going to help me to develop my complete potential? You see, now that's a lot of homework for you, and it is critical that before you take the next step in your development, you have all of those ducks sort of in a row. The self-talk then is the first step. The kind of things that you're communicating with yourself before you take the next step. And then, of course, that's part of a person like my job, is to help an athlete to sort these things out. Does it make sense? Are you going to be putting too much pressure on yourself? Or are you going into a situation that doesn't challenge you? Maybe you need to be sort of right in the middle and to develop your the pieces of your athletic puzzle that'll help you continue to develop your potential, so that when it becomes time for you to take the next step, you are mentally prepared. Self-talk then is one of the tools, one of the keys that I help many athletes to develop before each stage along the way to assist them to become the best athlete that they can become. Instructional self-talk is really sort of dry in language. It can be things that an athlete says to themselves that helps them to make a better swing at the ball, or make a better shot at the basketball rim, or swinging a bat. Anything that is mechanically inclined. However, this kind of self-talk, you gotta be very aware of the wording that you're using, because it can either focus the mind on what you want and as a positive outcome, or that kind of self-talk then, if it's negatively or if it is focused on what you're trying to avoid, it can cause you great anxiety. And of course, when you go down that road, that's where failure lives. So let's say you're on the golf course, or you're in the basketball court or baseball diamond, whatever it is that you're doing, and you have figured out, this is what I need to do in order to become successful on this particular play here. And so you have practiced it and practiced it and practiced it. And then all of a sudden, right before you get up to the plate or to the free throw line or to the shot, all of a sudden you're having a flash of negativity where the ball is flying out to the right or to the left, or you've missed a shot or something. And then you have a negative image, and the talk that you're using in your mind is, don't hit it out of bounds, or don't miss, or don't strike out. Well, it can be instructional, yes, but you are programming with negativity. You're telling your subconscious mind what it is that you're trying to avoid, and that's really all your subconscious mind hears. It does not hear smooth, or it does not hear staying level, or does not hear all of the positive things, swoosh, or whatever it does, whatever you need to do in order to become successful. All it hears is out of bounds. Don't go in the water. Don't miss the shot, miss shot. So it is extremely important that when you're going down the road of instructional self-talk, that it is all positive, and it is connected with a positive outcome in the net, or the right angle, or the level bat, or smooth as far as a golf swing is concerned. Those things are it's what you want. That's what you're trying to achieve, instead of what you're trying to avoid. Because the things you're trying to avoid, that can cause you great fear and anxiety. And once you go down that road, then the mind starts to engage in the fight, flight, or freeze mode. And that's the last thing you want in sports that require hand-to-eye coordination. You want freedom, and you want automaticity. You want to be able to swing a club just free, throw the basketball freely without fear of missing. So if you're standing up there and you're saying, please don't miss, I'm going to embarrass myself in front of all these people, well, you now have engaged or you will be engaging, more than likely you will be engaging the fear mechanisms that every human being has. The fear mechanism then makes the body become tight and rigid, and that is the last thing you want as an athlete. And so therefore, the instructional kind of self-talk needs to be positive, or just neutral, you see, and everything about it needs to be something that you're trying to accomplish. What is it that you want? What is it that you're trying to do on this particular shot or scenario? Not what you're trying to avoid, you see. And so the quality of the self-talk combined together, positive and inspirational, and then linked with a desired outcome together, will hopefully give you a better opportunity to experience a positive outcome. In fact, I know it will. And that is one of the secrets of great athletes. They are their best friend in the arena, and they give themselves the right kind of language, the programming language that engages the subconscious mind in a positive way. Those are the two things, as far as self-talk is concerned, that'll help you become a better athlete. So there you have it. That's just I have literally just brushed the surface of what is positive and effective athletic self-talk. There are many more levels, there are many more layers to this whole thing, but I'm always surprised that most athletes are not aware of how they're communicating with themselves. And one of the first things I do with every client of mine is I get them to monitor how are you talking to yourself. Are you your best friend or are you your worst enemy? And so many great athletes, they're really their worst enemy because of such high expectations or a fear of failure. These kinds of languages, these kinds of words or statements or feelings, they feed right down into the subconscious mind, and they can interfere with the positive motions that you need to express in order to give you the outcome that you're looking for. In other words, if the outcome that you're looking for is here, and this is where you are here, all of that negative self-talk can be right in here. It can be between you and the outcome that you're looking for. And so getting rid of all of that negativity and fear of failure, fear this, fear that, gonna let my father down, gonna let my girlfriend down, gonna let the team down, gonna let the scout down, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. It's all fear-based. Fear is the enemy of great execution. Fear, then, is something that you can program out of your way so that the outcome and the execution, there is nothing there other than pure joy. That when you strike the ball, you throw the ball, you hit the ball, or whatever it is you do, it is straight out of your talent pool. And if you have done your homework and you have done it right, you worked it right, then there is nothing to stand in between you and success. Nothing. If you've done your homework. And what I mean by that is if you paid the price on the driving range or the court, there's nothing going to stand in your way. Fear is the enemy of great athletic performance. You can overcome that by monitoring how you're communicating with yourself, how you are becoming your best friend, your ally, or are you your worst enemy by being so critical on yourself, so negative on yourself because you didn't reach a certain plateau or your expectation was so high or you didn't do this or you didn't do that. So there you have it. Athletic self-talk, two different methods and two different approaches that you need to be acutely aware of if you want to become the best that you can be. If you ever have any further questions about sports psychology, please email me or give me a call. I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Until then, I hope you have much success in your athletic endeavors.